Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
You are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to your channel. Hit the notification bell for more updates. Like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can also leave a comment after watching at the comment section or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number 0277 128 777. Thank you. Musah Dankwa, the boss of Info Analytics, has also come out clearing the air that there will not be runoff this election and the victory is for Mahama. Straight win is for Mahama, which he gives some points, factual points, which is true about what he said. And I want you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Please stay tuned.
Of this particular report, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Umaru.
I know that polls in the West are a common thing. We even have exit polls and all of that. But a poll just a week before the election, that must be a very daring one, considering how much you stuck your neck out. Tell us what you did.
Umaru, thank you. Umaru. Umaru.
No.
Remember, we've been doing several polls over the last 6 weeks. And before that, several polls over the 6 weeks, which was telephone polls. We had been doing 90-day tracking polls for the past 2.5 years. And in the last 10 days or so, we focused on certain regions specifically to try to understand what is going on there. So what we brought up today is a combination of all the years of work, all the weeks' telephone polls, and all this week's field survey across certain regions, using averages and what we believe to be the right numbers for those regions to come up with what will be the outcome of the 2024 elections come next week.
Are the people you use for this poll the same as those you've always been using in the past, or they are different?
No, okay. When we do cross-sectional poll in the field, we don't use the same people, different people, but we have seen the same outcome. In the case of telephone polls, we have a pool of people, we have their numbers, and we call that pool all the time. So you will see that one to be more of what we call longitudinal poll. And that tells you if the numbers are shifting, because the same people are being called several times, and see whether the numbers are shifting. The essence of the longitudinal poll is to see movement in the numbers as a result of the campaign hit up.
Now, these people that you interview, sometimes when you do your poll, you disclose to us what party leanings they are and all of that. Tell us about this particular sampling method.
No, over the years, we've noticed that people who openly say they are NPP, they are about 35% of all respondents we encounter. And those who say they are NDC, averagely 33%. But 20% say they are floating voters. And 3% belong to smaller parties. But nearly 10% will not disclose to you which party they belong to. So this is the breakdown of the numbers we have. And it's the same proportion we use when we're doing telephone polls.
Musah, let's talk about the credibility of the pollster himself, you. How credible are you and how credible is your institution?
For me, it is a hobby I'm pursuing, not something I do full-time job. I'm a consultant for government and private sector, and that's where I earn my living. This one, I'm just trying to fill a void that we have seen since independence. So Global Info Analytics is a private company that does research. And if you look at our records, our clientele are mostly international companies.
You want to mention some of your clientele who are international?
Oh, if you go to our website, you can see Johnson & Johnson. You can see Diageo and Guinness Ghana. And you can see many others, including Deloitte South Africa and Deloitte Ghana.
How long ago since you started doing polling in terms of our election in this republic?
Since 2019, Moro. We were set up in March 2019, and we're doing polls since then. We've done polls for the December elections, and we have continued to do so till now.
Because your polls are predicting a loss for the NPP and a win for the NDC, it's easy for you to be accused of being in bed with the NDC or doing the bidding of the NDC or even collecting money from the NDC to do this for them. What are your allegiances politically? Did you have some in the past? Do you have one currently? How independent and neutral are you?
I have never belonged to any political party. Tomorrow, I spent my time in Denmark, UK, and then I came back to Ghana in 2010. I have never belonged to any political party in my life. I don't hold any party affiliation. And I have been working professionally for both NPP and NDC government, to be honest with you. I was consultant during the NPP NDC government, and I am continuing to be a consultant for this NPP government as we speak to you right now.
Do you want to share what kind of consultancy services you've been running? And forgive me for asking these rather intrusive and personal questions.
It's good you ask,
but they are to help clear your image.
It is very fair, Moro. Umaru.
Okay.
If you ask people who work on the Ghana card, including the vice president, I was the financial consultant for the Ghana card project. I wrote the feasibility studies of the Ghana card project. I did the financial modeling of the Ghana card project. Indeed, I sat in parliament with Ken Atifa to answer parliamentary queries before the project was approved in parliament. I was on the floor of parliament.
Okay. Now let's talk about the polls finally. Is this like the final poll you are releasing, or there's still some to be done before the election?
This is it. This is the predictions based on the polls we've done in the last few days. So we're not going to come up with anything any longer until elections are over.
Now tell us about the details of what you... So did you poll for all 12 candidates or just some of them? And what was the result? I want to hear from the horse's own mouth.
Look, let's make this clear. This is not opinion poll. All the polls were ended yesterday. And there were several polls we conducted. So we aggregated, analyzed, and modeled all the polls we have to give us the predictions. The predictions are entirely based on actual polls of people we've spoken to, involving all the presidential candidates by name.
And the outcome, the results?
The result is that John Mahama is predicted to obtain 52.2% as a base case model. That's what we expect. 41.4% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 2.5% for Alan Shamating, 3.0% for Nana Kwame-Bediako, or 3% for Nana Kwame-Bediako, and 0.9% for the other candidates that we have in the race.
Now, as if people will not be surprised enough about what you're giving to the NPP candidate, the percentage you've given to Nana Bediako above Alan Chamantin may also raise eyebrows. How do you defend that?
Umaru, over the past 1 year that we've been polling, haven't you been seeing the numbers Bediako was getting? He has always done better than Alan in the polls. All the polls we have done when he declared to stand. So I don't think it should be surprising, because in the polls, he has been the second or third person in the race. And still third person in the race. So I don't see why this should be a surprise. People probably expect that Alan and his stature must have more vote. But if you look at our current demography of voters, we have younger voters. There are more younger voters than older voters. And Bediako is young. And his coalition of voters are young. The question is, can he get them out to vote on election day? Because expressing wishes to vote for you doesn't amount to voting. So it is for him to get his numbers to the polling station to vote. But so far, the youth are saying to us that they will vote for him, 3%.
There are many people who have been talking about a possible runoff in this general election. From what you are publishing, there may be no runoff.
We have stretched this model to the extent that we don't think there will be a runoff. Indeed, let me just give you a hint of what we've done. In one of the scenarios, we increase the turnout in Ashanti region above everybody else significantly, and increase what Bawumia will get above everybody else in the baseline model. And still, Mahama was winning one touch. So we are very confident of what we have done.
What's the margin of error?
1.8 or 1.86 thereabout, yes.
Which means that it may reduce Mahama to 51.
Yes, if you look at what we call the worst case scenario for John Mahama, he's on 50.4% worst case, and Bawumia 43%, Alan 2.6%, 3.1 for Bediako, and 0.9 for others. So in the worst case scenario, we have Mahama on 50.4. And if you even stretch the model to improve Bames numbers in Ashanti region, Mahama still performs about 50%.
Finally, sample size has been one subject you have been debating and fighting on social media. How many people did you use for this poll, and what was the consequence of the number of people you used for a poll of 18 million people who are voting?
Umaru, in fact, let me tell you, last week, in every 90 days, we were interviewing about 6,000, 7,000 people, every 90 days, frequently. And the results of that sample was consistent. When we're doing the telephone polls, we're interviewing about 2,500 or 1,000 every week. But in which every 2 weeks, about 5,000. And in the recent poll we just did in some regions, let me tell you, in Ashanti region, we've interviewed more than 4,000 people in the last just 2 days. In Bono, we have done about 3,500 in the last week. But this week, in Ahafo, we've done 2,500 across all the areas in Ahafo. In northern regions, we have done more than 10,000 in about 5 constituencies in northern region. In Eastern region, we've done more than 10,000. In where else? In Western region, almost 8,000. So we have done in between a lot of something because we are focusing on certain constituencies, and the results of these constituencies has informed what we're putting out there right now.
Finally, Baba Chairman rather from Tamale says that you said we should take off your head if you get it wrong. Did you say that? If you haven't, what should we take off if you get it wrong on election day?
Umaru, I mean, that was a very on a lighter note discussion with one of the sister radio stations. But look, what I'm telling you is that we will not go and sleep and wake up Bawumia to be the president because he's far behind in the polls. If Ghanaians are being truthful to us, he will not overtake Mahama. That I can tell you for a fact.
Thank you for speaking to us.
My pleasure.
That's Musah Dankwa, Executive Director of Global Info Analytics.
Thank you for staying tuned. PENDREAM TV really appreciates your time. Please, if today being your first time here, I will urge you to subscribe to the channel before logging out because we have more in store coming your way. Please don't mix out. Subscribe to the channel, turn the notification to all posts so that you'll be notified duly. Thank you.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.